Far Cry series was originally developed by Crytek in 2004. Crytek is most notably known for its namesake game series Crysis and the Cry Engine, a royalty-free video game engine. Since then, players have delighted in open-world exploration and wanton murder. Far Cry 4 takes players to the new, literal heights of the Himalayas and introduces players to rideable elephants, promoting animal companionship over relentless hunting. Well, sort of. But what about Far Cry's development? Did you know that an actor threatened to cut the face off of an assistant? Well, buckle up. My name is Stephanie Panisello, and today on the Leaderboard, we're counting down 107 facts about Far Cry 4. Let's get started. Number 1. Far Cry 4 was published by Ubisoft, who is also known for gifting the world with Splinter Cell, South Park: The Stick of Truth, and Beyond Good and Evil, for which I'll never give up hope on a sequel. Number 2. It was developed mostly with Ubisoft Montreal, but several branches of Ubisoft were involved in the game's design, including Ubisoft Toronto, Ubisoft Shanghai, Ubisoft Kiev, and Red Storm Entertainment. Number 3. The game is available on PlayStation 3 and 4, Xbox 360 and Xbox One, as well as the PC. Number 4. It was released on November 18, 2014, hence the cross-generation production for the game. Number 5. Development of the game started in late 2002 after the team worked on Assassin's Creed 3. No word yet on whether AJ Gale is related to Desmond Miles, though. Number 6. The game won Best Shooter of 2014 by IGN. Number 7. Far Cry 4 had 2 directors, Alex Hutchinson and Patrick Meth. Number 8. Alex Hutchinson was also the creative director of Assassin's Creed 3 and Army of Two, the 40th Day for the PSP. Number 9. Mark Thompson, the lead level designer for Far Cry 3, became narrative director in this game to help tie the gameplay and the story together a little more closely. Number 10. Thompson wanted to avoid the white savior trope from Far Cry 3. Early on, his team implemented the idea that the hero would come from Kyrat. Number 11. Originally, the game's to be a direct sequel to Far Cry 3, which took place on the fictional tropical Rook Island. But after 4 days of debate, the plan was scrapped in favor of an all-new script. Number 12. However, Far Cry 4 is somewhat connected to Far Cry 3 by the way of the characters Herc and Agent Willis Huntley.
American on the inside and useful on the outside.
Number 13. During one of the initial meetings for the game, executive producer Dan Hay said, "I want to be able to ride on an elephant, and I want to be able to smash it through a fortress." Don't we all, Dan? Don't we all? Number 14. It's not all death and destruction, though. While Far Cry 3, has an almost Grand Theft Auto feel with the rampant murders and the players getting away with it, well, Far Cry 4 introduced a karma system. That's right, there are good deeds that you earn, and the player gains karma points, such as, freeing hostages, or cleaning up, killed animals, or the bad deeds, such as killing an elephant or killing civilians. Those deduct your karma points. Number 15. Far Cry 4 also allows the player to choose which different factions they want to be a part of in the beginning of the game. So beyond karma, it's also probably good to impress your friends. Number 16. The developers really take killing elephants seriously. The negative karma you get from killing an elephant is 5 times more than killing an innocent human. Number 17. The game takes place in the country of Kyrat, which is somewhere in the Himalayan mountains and a fictional mishmash of several countries, including Nepal, Bhutan, and Tibet. Number 18. Kyrat is fictional, but its name does have roots in reality. The Kyrats and Kiratis are an Aboriginal people from the northeastern Nepal that date all the way back to 700 BC. The first Kiratis king of Nepal, Yalamber, belonged in the Yuling clan, and his dynasty lasted 29 generations. Number 19. The game was inspired by a 10-year civil war in Nepal. Several of the developers wanted Nepal to be used as a visualization in the creation of the game's world. Number 20. The team initially picked Nepal as a springboard because they wanted the new world of Far Cry 4 to feel like it was somewhere that had history of conflict, the kind of place that you would go to that was on the edge of the map. Also, they probably wanted to prove that they could move away from the tropical setting and try something new. Number 21. The first character created for the game was the country of Kyrat itself. Number 22. The team initially thought about making the game setting an island, but instead they chose the Himalayas because it added verticality that the other games never had before. Players could fly and climb mountains in this game. Number 23. To get around the mountains wilderness, the player can get the wingsuit from the previous Far Cry games, a grappling hook for scaling the mountains, as well as a small gyrocopter. Number 24. Kyrat has 3 large and very diverse biomes: the lowlands, the midlands, and the Himalayas. The head of the royal army lives in the lowlands. Drug sales and gladiator fights occur in the Midlands, and a high-security prison is boarded in the side of the Himalayas. Number 25. After Ubisoft's trip to Nepal, the Far Cry 4 team was in for a rude awakening. Narrative director Mark Thompson remarked that what Ubisoft had made before the trip looked like a Disneyland version of Nepal. And when they came back and looked at the game, he said, "Oh, we've made a 17th century version." Number 26. While in Nepal, Thompson filmed an old woman sharpening a small sickle on a stoop. He thought it was such a striking visual that the woman was later used as an inspiration for a mission dispensing NPC found in the game later. Number 27. Despite taking place on a fictional island, it apparently exists within the real world, because Antagonist Pagan Min references things like Kanye on Twitter. Number 28. The currency used in the game is rupees. 6 actual countries use the rupees as their currency as well: India, Mauritius, Nepal, Pakistan, Seychelles, and Sri Lanka. So if you're not up on your currencies of the world, then yes, Hyrule runs off a real-world currency. Number 29. It was originally planned for the game to have female playable characters, but the idea was scrapped because they didn't have a female voice nor complete models for women in time for the game's development. Number 30. The protagonist of this game is AJ Gale. AJ is a young karate American. After his mother dies, he flies to Karat to dispose of her ashes, and that's where all the trouble starts. Number 31. AJ has 2 different pronunciations for his name. Being raised in America, his name sounds like AJ Gale, but when he arrives in Karat, his name is pronounced Ajay Gale. Number 32. AJ Gale was born in 1988, making him roughly 26 at the time of the game's happenings. Number 33. His mother, Ishwari Gale, lived from 1968 to 2014, making her only about 45 or 46 when she passed away. That's really sad. Number 34. AJ is voiced by James A. Woods, who also voiced characters from Far Cry 3 and Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell: Conviction. The guy who played Hades in Disney's Hercules was a different James Woods.
I know! You know. I know. I got it. I got the concept.
Number 35. The game's creator wanted AJ to feel like a real representation of the player. They didn't want to get in the player's way too much, allowing the player to feel like they inhabit the world. For that reason, they made AJ as confused as the player about what's going on in Karat. Number 36. The primary antagonist is named Pagan Min, and this son of a mid-level drug boss is a self-appointed king of Karat. Number 37. The ever-prolific Troy Baker voices Pagan Min. If you've played video games or watched anything animated, there's a good chance that you've heard him before. Number 38. Troy Baker got the job when he ignored the script given to him, and he threatened to cut the face off an assistant who walked into the room. Troy Baker doesn't always recommend this course of action, and we're inclined to agree with that. Number 39. Pagan Min is the name the character gave himself when he inherited the kingdom. It is a tribute to a king of the Burmese Empire that slaughtered his own family to gain control. Number 40. Pagan Min's costume was inspired by the Japanese horror films Brother from 2000 and Ichi the Killer from 2003. Characters in both films were very vibrant suits. I guess you could say that Pagan Min follows suit. I cracked myself up.
Pathetic.
Number 41. The suit's distinctive shade of pink is a tribute to Min's mother. Developers mentioned that insulting his suit is tantamount to insulting his mother. Number 42. Even though he is ruling Karat and inspired by Japanese culture, Min is not a native of the Himalayan country. He's actually from Hong Kong. Number 43. Pagan Min has a body double named Eric. Min tells AJ that Eric is not even Asian, but from Melbourne, and he had a surgery to look more like him. Face off. Number 44. In coming up with Min as a character, Hutchinson said that we wanted a villain who wasn't directly threatening you. He's clearly a bad guy, he's, clearly slightly unhinged, but we wanted him to have a more complex relationship with AJ and therefore the player. Because why does he want to take care of you? Why does he know about your family? Why does he seem to like you? And how does the player feel when, again, they already know from the first moment that eventually they will confront him? It's confusing, which makes for a great villain.
I just do things.
Number 45. Baker was told very specifically by game producers that they did not want him to do a Joker voice. In all fairness, Troy Baker has played the Joker on more than one occasion, so I get why they had to warn him. Number 46. Longinus, who provides AJ guns in Far Cry 4, was born in the UAC, the African country that serves as the setting for Far Cry 2. After being shot in the head, he was nursed back to health by Father Malia. Number 47. Longinus' name is based on the biblical figure Longinus, or however it is you want to pronounce it, the soldier who pierced Jesus' side only to convert to religion later. Number 48. Longinus' backstory shares a similarity to Joshua Milton Bly, known as the General Butt Naked, warlord during the 90s Liberian Civil War. Yes, this is a real person and not just a bit from the Book of Mormon. Number 49. The character of Sabal, the leader of the Golden Path Resistance, was voiced by Naveen Andrews, who appeared in Lost and the films The English Patient and the remake of Rollerball. Number 50. Gwendolyn Yao, who voices the adopted sister Yama Lau, appeared on Desperate Housewives and General Hospital. She also is the voice of Pain in Final Fantasy X2. Number 51. Travis Willingham, the voice of Paul Delaplore Harmon, has many voice credits including Roy Mustang in Full Metal Alchemist, Beitsu in Naruto, a ship captain in Ruby, and voices in the Skylanders and Halo series of games. Number 52. Travis also appears on the web series Critical Role, where voice actors played top-table role-playing game. His character is Grog Strongjaw, the Goliath Barbarian. Number 53. Janita Gavankar not only did the voice of Amita in the game, but also the motion capture for her as well. Number 54. She is also a recording artist and has released her own EP. Number 55. Hutchington said that he wanted to make the rebel group, the Golden Path, a realistic version of a rebel group. They thought of themselves as the good guys, yet they had this very muddled way of how they would achieve their aims. Number 56. The developers visited the Talbahari Temple that is located in the middle of a lake for inspiration for many of the temples and shrines in the game. Number 57. The inspiration for the Golden Path were Maoist rebels during the Nepalese Civil War, who were united under the idea of making everyone more equal. Not exactly a bad goal. Number 58. The team talked to many ex-Maoist fighters and drew from their experiences in making the game and in making the Golden Path. Number 59. The developers visited the Pashupatinath Temple in Kathmandu, one of the most holy sites in Hinduism. Number 60. They not only spoke to the holy men who lived at the temple, but also witnessed the ritual burnings of the dead. Number 61. Also, on their Kathmandu trip, they witnessed a goat sacrifice to the god Kali. Number 62. As both a promotional tool and a research venture, part of Far Cry 4's team turned their 2-week trip to Nepal into a documentary with Vice, filmed by Vice's in-house creative agency Virtue. The video was released as the Far Cry 4 Vice Developer Diary, and you can watch it on the Far Cry YouTube channel. Number 63. One of the main knives found in Far Cry 4 is the kukri knife. The inwardly curved mid-length knife is a nationally recognized icon in Nepal and came into recognition after the Nepal War in 1814 through the 15th, with the formation of the British Gurkha Army. Number 64. The British Gurkha Army were an elite fighting force that has fought alongside the British Special Forces since its inception, and it's the prime inspiration for many of the fighting forces in Far Cry 4. A Gurkha veteran told Ubisoft, "The kukri works every time. When your ammunition runs out, what can you do? Do you freeze? No, you pull out your kukri and you fight." Number 65. The Shangri-La missions to the game were developed by the Ubisoft studio in Toronto. Number 66. The game was rated M by the ESRB for blood, intense violence, nudity, sexual themes, strong language, and use of drugs. Number 67. For all the nudity and violence, there is one instance of male genitalia blurred out. I guess that's where Ubisoft and the ESRB board draw the line. Number 68. The Far Cry series was originally developed by Crytek in 2004. Crytek is most notably known for its namesake game series, Crysis, and the CryEngine, a royalty-free video game engine. Number 69. However, the engines used for this game were carried over from Far Cry 3, as well as a heavily modified Junia Engine 2. Number 70. Far Cry 4 animation director Scott Mitchell said a large part of the animation team's mindset was something they called the anecdote factory. The animation is systematic, meaning anything can happen at any time, anywhere. It also means random encounters and some special assets are not a guaranteed experience for every player, making each session very unique. Number 71. Mitchell also said that a key thing for up-and-coming animators to learn is how to communicate with other departments. After working with Ubisoft for 10 years, Mitchell recognizes that programming and animation have become much more integrated, so it's important to know both languages. Number 72. Like Far Cry 3, the game features a map editor. However, it was not available for the multiplayer aspect of the game at launch. Support for that aspect was released 3 months later. Number 73. There are multiple endings to the game, depending on who you side with. There's even a secret ending to the game that is unlocked if the player finishes the game in under 30 minutes. Number 74. Far Cry 4 has 2 DLC missions available, Escape from Durgash and the Valley of Yetis. And yes, we agree that that is a completely awesome name for a DLC. Number 75. The game also features a 2-player cooperative mode called Guns for Fire that takes place outside the single-player story mode. Number 76. Although you do not need to keep your progression of conquered bases in the dual-player mode when you go back to the single-player, you do get to keep the tools, money, and experience points that you earned on your own story. Number 77. To promote the co-op player mode at E3 2014, they had Donald Glover and Danny Pudi from the sitcom community at Ubisoft's booth. Number 78. Neither actor had ever been to E3 before, so that's quite a transition from never having been there to now being booth demonstrators. Number 79. The soundtrack for the game was composed by Cliff Martinez, former member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and cinematic composer for movies like Ryan Gosling's Drive, perhaps? Number 80. The soundtrack was released with a digital edition, a limited release double CD edition, and amazingly, a limited 3-record vinyl edition. Old school, baby! Number 81. Martinez announced his involvement with the game even before Ubisoft made an official announcement about the game itself. Guess the guy was pretty excited about Karat. Number 82. The cover art caused some controversy when it was released, as it features a picture of the lighter-skinned Pagan sitting in his hands on a darker-skinned person. Hutchinson said later that Pagan was not white and that the whole experience was uncomfortable with a capital U. Number 83. Also controversial, much of the language heard in the game outside of the English is Hindi, not Nepali. Even though the developers were clear that Nepal was the inspiration for Karat, I imagine it's probably easier to translate dialogue from Hindi, but it still really is a shame that they had to go that route. Number 84. Anyone familiar with Far Cry 3 will know that battling against savage animals is one of the game's highlights. Far Cry 4 steps up the wild factor with war elephants. That's right. As mentioned earlier, you don't get any points or prizes for killing them, but you can ride them into battle and summon a stampede and trample your enemies. Number 85. Although much is made of the use of elephants in the game, the all-new honey badgers are also made for strong foes. Turns out that Far Cry 4 is also great for making your own National Geographic parodies. Number 86. When it comes to harvesting animal skins, not all weapons are created equal. Using fire or explosives to finish an animal off will damage the hide. Number 87. Conversely, scoring kills with a bow or a knife will yield better results. The best hunters have to learn to use their weapons, and it's great practice for Far Cry Primal. Number 88. If you want to upgrade all your items as far as they'll go, you'll be collecting a lot of hides. The animal you need the most hides from is the bear and the sambar, about 8 pieces. Number 89. And what animal is spared from the brunt of your genocidal hunting practices? Well, the Assam macaque, at 3 hides total. Number 90. Far Cry 4 also introduces players to beehives, aka nature's grenades. Technical use of a conveniently placed beehive can dispatch enemies after encouraging them with a few shots to the nest. But be warned, because they might bite the hands of those that feed them as well. Number 91. For the first time ever in a Far Cry game, birds can and will attack from above. Alfred Hitchcock fans, rejoice. Number 92. The Far Cry 4 vehicles got upgraded with an auto drive feature. The auto drive allows players to take in the scenery or focus on gunfire while the vehicle takes care of everything, getting them where they need to for their next waypoint. Number 93. Good thing too, because for the first time you can jump from one moving vehicle to another and take that vehicle for yourself. Number 94. In a game this large, there are bound to be a few Easter eggs. For example, a common item found while you pickpocket the pockets of your fallen enemies is a knockoff GPS device. If you read the description, it says that the GPS comes preloaded with a map of Rook Island. Look at that, the setting for Far Cry 3. Number 95. Another common item found in the pockets of the recently deceased are hypodermic needles. The description on this item tells you that it's filled with a glowing liquid from an underwater utopia, clearly a reference to BioShock's Rapture, and it's definitely not FDA-approved plasmids though. Number 96. Not only does Pagan Min spend a lot of time on Twitter getting his wheezy fill, as mentioned earlier, the guy on the radio is also up on the latest and greatest TV. If you drive around in a car long enough, the DJ refers to something having Walter White's business sense.
Are you following me here?
The DJ also mentions the Joker, President Obama, and Kanye West. Number 97. Far Cry 4 definitely isn't the first time that Ubisoft has slipped that they're Breaking Bad fans. In their game Watch Dogs, there are 3 more Breaking Bad Easter eggs to find. Number 98. If you head to the coordinates x488.7 by y396.2 and climb the hill, you'll find a cave. And inside that cave is a dead body resting among a bunch of goblets. This is actually a reference to the famous Choose Wisely scene in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Number 99. Although the games are not directly linked, Ubisoft created a journalist character named Divya Kandala to author a blog about uncovering the prehistoric remains from Far Cry Primal. She is credited with an article on Pagan Min as her most noteworthy article. Number 100. Before its release in 2014, Michael Patcher, video game analyst at Wedbush Securities, projected that Far Cry 4 would sell between 6 and 8 million copies and make 300 to 400 million in its first year. Number 101. And the analysis would prove valid. Far Cry 4 gave a nice little boost to Ubisoft's 2015 first quarter sales report. After Assassin's Creed Rogue and Unity boasted a hearty 10 million the year before, Far Cry 4 sold 7 million copies from its release in November to February of 2015. In the same amount of time, Far Cry 3 sold just over half that amount at 4.5 million copies. Number 102. A limited edition version of the game was made available to people who pre-ordered the game. It featured extra in-game missions and a special harpoon gun. Number 103. A special Karat edition was also also released that featured the missions from the limited edition, a map of Karat, a journal, Pagan Min figurine, and a collector's box. Number 104. The PlayStation versions of the game, both PS3 and PS4, included an exclusive Keys to Karat feature, meaning people could invite friends on the PlayStation Network to join them in co-op play, whether that person had the game or not. Number 105. Eurogamer has a detailed fan theory that links all the games together, including Far Cry 4, by the way of Jack of Far Cry 2, as well as the name Cade. Please keep in mind, though, this is only a theory. Number 106. You may have seen your fair share of I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee. You know, those memes online. You know who else has seen those? The developers who placed a dead body at coordinates x 459.3 by y 635.0 and stuck an arrow in its knee. Number 107. Can't get enough of Far Cry? The next game in the series is Far Cry Primal, and it's available now. Hey guys, thanks so much for catching us here at the Leaderboard again for 107 facts about Far Cry 4. Once again, my name is Stephanie Panisello. If you liked what you see, please give us a like, and if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and do so below. Also, if there's anything that we've missed or any other cool facts, please let me know. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.